While predators have evolved ingenious and effective ways to catch their next meal, prey animals similarly have developed ways to keep themselves from being eaten. Let's talk about some of these defense mechanisms, shall we? Number 10. Sea cucumber. When it comes to animals that can physically defend themselves against attackers, sea cucumbers don't usually factor into the conversation. It's easy to see these sea creatures being helpless prey items for various fish, crustaceans, sea turtles, and sea stars. But defenseless they are not, as you will find out right now. First off, they can change from a solid form to a liquid form, allowing them to escape into the tiniest cracks. They can also disassemble themselves into many tiny pieces, fooling any would-be predator that they are already dead, then reassemble themselves again when the danger is past. But their most impressive and deadly defense mechanism is the ability to expel their guts through their anus, exposing their toxic intestines to the attacker, giving it a mouthful of poison as a fitting punishment for attacking this seemingly harmless creature. Number 9. The Texas Horned Lizard. The Texas Horned Lizard is a scary-looking creature. Brown, plump, and perfectly camouflaged in its native sandy environment, its first line of defense is its spiky demeanor. If the sharp spikes and horns don't ward off predators, the lizard steps it up a notch and squirts a well-aimed stream of blood out its eyes. The stream of blood, which can go as far as 5 feet, is mixed with a foul-tasting chemical that wards off predators. But this odd weapon comes at a cost. The lizard may release 1/3 of its total blood supply this way, accounting to 2% of its body mass. This defense mechanism hasn't been enough to protect this species against humans, however. The horned lizard has experienced an alarming decline, due primarily to habitat loss, but also due to collection for the pet trade. That's why the Texas horned lizard is now a protected species in Texas. Number 8. The Iberian ribbed newt. From blood, we now go to bones, which just shows us how resourceful prey animals can be. The Iberian ribbed newt has an amazing, but admittedly disturbing way of dealing with predators. When threatened, the newt can push its ribs forward and through its stretched skin to create defensive spikes. But not just any spikes, poisonous spikes. The newt also secretes a poisonous milky substance onto its body surface. This 1-2 punch of stabby bones and deadly poison is definitely an effective way of dealing with predators. While the attacker gets a mouthful of poisonous spikes that can cause severe pain or possibly even death, the newt itself experienced no significant negative effects from the gruesome strategy. It can perform this skin-piercing maneuver over and over again during its life and heal itself each time without problem. Number 7. Exploding ants. Ants are amazing creatures. They spend all their lives in their colony, working together to ensure its success. Each ant has a specific purpose for which it was born for, one of which is to defend the colony from any and all enemies, and in the case of the Malaysian exploding ant, at even the cost of their own lives. On the outside, this tiny ant is just an inconspicuous brownish red ant. It lacks larger mandibles, cannot sting, and generally seems like easy pickings for any predator looking for an easy meal. But when these ants feel threatened, they raise up their rumps as a warning. Then, if the would-be attacker, a much larger weaver ant, say, doesn't back off, one or more tiny ants bite down on it, angle their backsides in close, and flex so hard that their abdomens burst at the seams. By tearing themselves apart, the ants sacrifice themselves to protect the rest of the colony. When they explode, the ants unleash a secretion that is bright yellow, sticky, and toxic. Bad news for any predator who happened to catch a mouthful of it. Number 6. Flying fish. This small fish, the largest of which can grow to about 18 inches long, swims at speeds reaching 37 miles per hour to launch themselves from the water. Angling upward, the 4-winged flying fish breaks the surface and begins to taxi by rapidly beating its tail while it's still beneath the surface. It then takes to the air, sometimes reaching heights of over 4 feet and gliding long distances, up to 655 feet. Once it nears the surface again, it can flap its tail and taxi without fully returning to the water. Flying fish can keep up these consecutive glides and stretch a single flight out to distances reaching 1,312 feet. A fish that can take to the air for over 1,000 feet is certainly an extraordinary adaptation. Number 5. The hagfish.
They're sneaky, they're slimy, and they're hungry.
When predators are forced to vomit you out, you stay alive most of the time. That's probably what the hagfish thought when it came up with this effective, albeit sticky and disgusting way to keep predators at bay. When threatened, the hagfish expels a thick slime that mixes with the water. The predator then needs to focus on escaping the gill-clogging goo. This slime is incredibly viscous, which leaves no doubt in its ability to choke out any would-be predator. The disgusting slime is so effective that, according to researchers who probably had nothing better to do than watch other animals try to eat a hagfish, observed 14 different attempts at various animals trying to gobble up a hagfish, and not a single one was successful. It's clearly a great solution, since the hagfish has been around for some 300 million years. The defense isn't that effective on humans though, because these slimy fish skin has been used as leather for decades, and are passed off in the market as eel skin. Number 4. The potato beetle. The potato beetle loves its own feces, and it's not afraid to flaunt it. To defend itself from any would-be predator, it smears its feces all over its own body, kinda like a suit of armor, but poop. Aside from looking and smelling disgusting, there is another, very lethal reason why animals avoid eating the potato beetle. The poop is poisonous. It just so happens that this beetle's favorite food is a plant called nightshade, an extremely poisonous plant. So, following the idea of you are what you eat, the feces of this beetle contains the toxins of the nightshade plant. To put it in perspective, chewing on a single leaf of this plant can effectively kill a person. What if someone ingests it in its concentrated potato beetle poo form? Not gonna be a good day for anybody. Number 3. Eurasian roller birds. There's one hatchling no predator would ever touch. Why? That's because they are absolutely disgusting. Babies of a bird species called the Eurasian roller vomit a foul-smelling orange liquid as a defense mechanism against predators. The tiny hatchlings throw up the repugnant fluid when they are frightened in their nests. Covered in vomit, the nestlings not surprisingly become less attractive as a snack. The smell also alerts parents returning to the nest that a threatening incident has happened in their absence. That also tells them to be more vigilant, as the predator might still be nearby. Number 2. Animals with horns. They are extremely strong animals and are fast as well, making fleeing from predators their primary mode of defense. When running away doesn't work, they then resort to using their sharp-pointed horns to keep the lion at bay, just until the hungry predator gives up and loses interest. Many horned animals use their horns to defend themselves from predators. Chief and most dangerous among them is the Cape buffalo. The Cape buffalo is a lethal combination of strength, size, and aggression. Add to those a pair of sharp-pointed horns, then you have an animal that truly deserves its nickname of Black Death. This animal is responsible for hundreds of human fatalities each year in Africa, and with that kind of reputation, this is one prey animal that even the mightiest of predators would have to think twice before taking on. Number 1. The slow loris. As its name suggests, the slow loris is a painfully slow-moving creature, and that's what makes it enticing to predators. But if you think that this creature makes for an easy meal, well, you better think again. To make up for its lack of speed, it has armed itself with poison glands near its armpits. This venom, when mixed with the loris's saliva, becomes a highly toxic concoction that is very dangerous when it gets into the bloodstream. When threatened, the slow loris takes a mouthful of this toxin, then proceeds to bite its attacker. And when it bites, it's usually game over for the victim. Its defense may be useful against predators, but it's not as effective against the Earth's top predator, humans. They are hunted and put in inhuman conditions. To avoid poisonous bites, some people remove their teeth as well. The thing is, getting rid of the teeth is not a way to completely get away from the poisonous effects. They cause anaphylactic shocks in humans, which is, needless to say, not really a good thing. Know of any other prey animals that can hold its own against a predator? Let us know down in the comments. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe as well as the notification bell. That way, you'll get notified every time